If you've been wondering what real border enforcement looks like, well, tonight you are going to find out. ICE raids are sweeping across sanctuary cities, and the political elite are in absolute panic mode. Governor Pritzker, that's right, my governor, is literally helping illegals change their names to avoid deportation. But here's what's really happening. Trump's administration isn't just enforcing the law. They're dismantling every sanctuary city apparatus. The Marines are deploying concertina wire, while liberal governors spend your tax dollars defending criminal aliens. It's a tale of two Americas, and tonight we're going to show you which side is winning. And while we witness the historic transformation of our immigration system, let's talk about transformation you can see in the mirror. Just like Trump is building America's borders, BioTrust Collagen is rebuilding your body's natural defenses against aging. A groundbreaking 2024 study shows that daily collagen supplementation can dramatically improve skin elasticity and reduce wrinkles. This isn't just any collagen. It's a scientifically formulated blend of 5 key types sourced from premium sources. Now visit healthwithgary.com for an exclusive 51% off deal. That's healthwithgary.com for your transformation. It is linked down below. Okay, big news on the immigration front. It is only day 10 in President Trump's administration. The deportation force is in full play. The border war is continuing. Tom Homan is leading the charge. Remember when those border agents got fired on by the cartels? Well, that was a very, very bad move. They have only upped the game, and the reaction is going to be devastating for the cartels. Here is now Guantanamo Bay is open for business. Finally, listen to this. Here is DHS Secretary Noem and Border Czar Tom Homan taking questions on Trump sending illegals to Guantanamo Bay.
Mr. Homan and Secretary Noem, can we ask you a few questions here, please? Would you guys
What's
chat
up,
with
girl?
us for a few moments? You are both the top immigration advisors to President Trump, in addition to Stephen Miller. He just announced that he's signing
She's
an executive
gorgeous.
order to put 30,000 detention beds at Guantanamo Bay. I know, Mr. Homan, you've talked about needing more beds, but how exactly would that work, and when?
Okay, that's Caitlin Collins. I can hear her voice. She's the one. She's the antagonist from CNN. She's the one who's basically the new Jim Acosta in a dress. Okay. So she's asking the question. I'll just roll it back a minute. Just want to make it clear so you knew who was asking that question. Let's go.
To put 30,000 detention beds at Guantanamo Bay. I know, Mr. Homan, you've talked about needing more beds, but how exactly would that work, and when do you expect it to open?
You know, that is something that the White House is working on, to use resources that we currently have there at Guantanamo Bay. So we'll go through the process. The worst of the worst is where that could be utilized. So that potential is there. We know we need the infrastructure. We're going after these guys.
But who would
Secretary,
run that?
who would run the
DHS?
facility
With
like
DHS
that?
or the Pentagon?
What you probably don't know, there's already a migrant center there. It's been there for decades. So we're just going to expand upon the existing migrant center.
How would logistics work for that? How would you get migrants down to Guantanamo?
We fly them to Guantanamo. Coast Guard, they encounter people in maritime, they can take them straight to Guantanamo Bay. The worst of the worst, the significant public safety threats, we can fly them.
We're doing it. We're already doing it.
Would
So
that be more
just
expensive
build it out.
than-
We're building it out and using more
What is
resources.
the worst?
Mr.
What is
Homan,
the
Mr.
worst
Homan,
of
what
the
kind of
worst?
Secretary Noem, what kind of civilian oversight would there be?
Civilian oversight?
Yeah.
The current civilian oversight that we have in our federal government today. We had an election in November that clearly said the American people don't want these criminals and dangerous individuals on our streets anymore. We're taking care of it at the
Madam,
federal
they said they
level.
wanted-
What's
did
your
they say they
message
wanted an
for
invasive
Polish
Cuba?
Americans who voted for President Trump and may have neighbors or family members who are undocumented, who are illegally here?
Listen, the law applies to everybody. It applies to American citizens. It applies to people who come into this country illegally. You will be held accountable for breaking our laws.
First of all,
Will you focus on people who
your question earlier,
relations at all?
ICE.
Go ahead, Mr. Homan.
ICE has the highest detention standards in the industry. You can't find another state, federal, local, or city has higher detention standards than ICE. So every facility, including Gitmo, will have the highest.
So ICE would be running it.
Mr. Homan,
That's
isn't
actually
ICE-
really helpful. So ICE would be running
of course.
and would be
That's our
staffing
migrant
that.
center run out of Miami.
Mr. Homan, isn't it
I
ICE's
hope you all are spending your time today covering Laken Riley and her family, and this bill and the tools that it's going to give to make sure that families don't have to go through that again.
Well, on his
Mr.
slide,
Homan,
you were
we're
informed
gonna
about-
talk
We're covering that.
On
and
the
then
slide,
is
one
how
question that
country
we'd
safe.
like to ask is if you have a sense of how much money it will cost, how much money will be invested in this
The bill or
facility?
the facility?
In the facility at Guantanamo Bay that the
We're working
president
on that with
announced.
reconciliation and appropriators in the House.
Are you
Senate.
finishing
And
the
any
actions
actions
we're
we're taking on those who
Isn't it
change?
ICE's policy to house people
What will
close to
happen
their
to the
families? Is that a
remaining
change in that policy?
Guantanamo detainees?
So it's going to go through.
Well, it shouldn't be too difficult to find beds in Guantanamo because Joe Biden let out all the terrorists. Here we have some footage. Eric Darty posting this. Border Patrol scaring off illegal aliens. They run back into Mexico after Trump's people show up. So it looks like we have a massive border operation taking place. Oh. There you have it, right there.
You have these
Peeking.
border patrol agents right here doing their job, and then you got the criminals up there overlooking
Wow.
what the agents are doing. Those are the scouts. But then there's also several illegal aliens that are attempting to cross up there, and then where is it? There's more illegal aliens right behind that little hill. Right in behind that obelisk right there. There's a bunch of illegal aliens trying to run across. And then you got this guy up here who is a spotter overlooking the whole deal. More agents are coming through, baby. He's going up there. I just want you guys to check out the prompt response of all of the Border Patrol agents now seeing those criminals up there. They're all going. Hell yeah. Look at that. They ran.
Yeah, baby. They ran. There's a new sheriff in town. Here's more video. The U.S. Marines fortifying the border in California. This was posted by Eric Darty also from the U.S. Northern Command. U.S. Northern Command getting the word out right now. Here we have Governor Pritzker. He is apparently allowing illegals to change their names to avoid ICE. Let's take a look at what Ben Berquam is saying.
Names so that they talk about salt in the wound, Steve. Governor Pritzker not only is not allowing these guys in the jail to get these guys, he just announced that they're able to change their names. They're getting driver's licenses and able to change their names so that they can hide more easily from ICE. These guys are traitors. That's what they are. They need to be held arrested as traitors to this country.
I hope, and because I know this in the Palisades out in Southern California, you're having a red pill moment where a lot of these progressives now realize what they brought on themselves and how, when you see Bass and Newman, how disastrous, and they're not going to change. And you're going to see a lot of MAGA. I hope folks, I know downstate Illinois is MAGA territory, but I hope folks in Chicago see exactly what's going on. People there for your public safety, trying to get the worst of the worst out and being absolutely confronted and thwarted by the mayor, people around the mayor, and the governor, and they're doing it for political reasons. This is why Chicago is so important. You got to force it here. And Ben, what you said is so important for the audience. Every tool in the toolbox President Trump's going to use. Every tool in the toolbox.
Every tool is coming out. And the teachers in Houston have their own tools, handing out these cards to students who are in our country illegally in the event that ICE shows up at the school. You have constitutional rights. Do not open the door if an immigration agent is knocking. Do not answer any questions. Do not sign anything. Give this card to the agent. If you do not, I do not wish to speak. I do not want to answer your questions. I don't give you permission, blah, 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 blah. So my question is, do they have constitutional rights if they're not U.S. citizens? Does the Constitution extend to those people? I don't think it does. I mean, I guess they can try to make it apply to them through the color of this card, but we'll see. And we got this. Bye. ICE, baby. Enforcement update of January 29, 2025. 1,016 arrests, 814 detainers lodged. So this is a number that is growing by the day. Here we have excellent footage of the very end of the U.S.-Mexico border where San Diego, California, and Tijuana, Mexico meet. You can see that anyone who wants to simply just swim around the ocean portion of the border wall could easily be able to do so. Watch this.
I actually met a guy here who told me. So I'm here at the U.S.-Mexico border. I'm in Mexico, in Tijuana, and on the other side is San Diego, California. It's right on the beach. So this is the border wall here, and it runs all the way into the ocean there. And you can see it goes out a little bit, and then it's just nothing and water. And so I actually met a guy here who told me that a few years ago, there wasn't this wall here. They were doing some construction, and so they didn't have it. And he was saying people would cross all the time. They would just go over there. And you can actually, if you go to the other side, you can see the Customs and Border Patrol. And so they would just apprehend people. And that was their goal. They wanted to be apprehended, wanted to claim asylum, go through the system. But he said that actually for the past few months, nobody's really been crossing. But he said a few months ago and year prior to that, when this thing was up, he said every single day you'd see people coming into the ocean here and then crossing around and going into the U.S. And so it's really interesting in Tijuana. It's very lively on this side of the border, really exciting place, fun beach atmosphere. It's called Playas. And then over here in the U.S., there's absolutely nothing. It's just the wall, and then there's like a nature preserve on the other side. And so San Diego would be way down there, just past this beach. You've got to walk quite a bit, but you got the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol. They are right up there on that hill over there. And this is the United States. I'm stuck in Mexico here, and that's what's going on. Pretty crazy to see this wall here running right out into the ocean.
How ridiculous.
But that's the reality here on the border. So I'm here at the U.S.-Mexico border. I'm in
reality right now. We got more to get to here. Let's take a look. Red Apple Media has this. They say there are millions of people standing in line doing things the right way. Border czar Real Tom Homan explains why removing illegal aliens from American soil is top priority. Let's listen.
And if we there are some that feel like, why would you take out people who have proven for a while now that they can be an asset to the community and are not criminals?
Well, look, we're doing a case-by-case basis, but as you said, it's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's not okay to violate our laws. And if we don't have consequences for that, you're never going to solve the Southwest border crisis. That sounds cruel, but we will never solve the crisis. And they'll keep coming. Women keep being sexually assaulted by the cartels. People continue to die across that border. Illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. So we have to secure the border. We have to send a message that you cannot enter this country illegally. There are millions of people standing in line, doing things the right way, taking their tests, paying their fees, to be part of the greatest nation on earth.
There are some that feel like, why would...
We are the greatest nation on earth. That's why so many people are trying to get in here, but they got to do it the right way. The Trump administration states that it will cancel student visas of all Hamas sympathizers on college campuses. That is according to the White House. And here we have, yes, I meme, therefore I am. Holy crap. Johnson. Mayor Brandon Johnson. I can't believe this guy. He actually said it's not his job to protect Chicago residents from violent criminal illegals. Hear it from his own mouth.
Tom Homan showed up in Chicago and within 24 hours found a convicted sex offender who has been living in our city since 2009, flouting the sex offender registry. If he can do this, why can't you?
Because that's their job. That is their job. The federal
Your
government
job's not to keep
has a
the people of Chicago
responsibility
safe?
to make sure that individuals who are undocumented, who have been charged with, convicted of a crime, it is the federal government's responsibility to do their part and uphold the law. Our local police department, along with our public health department, along with our other sister agencies, are working to build a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And as we've stated repeatedly, those critical investments, you continue to see the results of those investments as violent crime continues to fall in Chicago.
Tom Homan showed up in Chicago and within 24 hours found a convicted sex offender who has been living in our city since 2009, flouting the sex offender registry. If he can do this, why can't you?
I mean, a great question there. That was Robert Kelly. He's a local reporter here. I know him personally, great guy, does amazing work. And here we have Libs of Chicago. This is a new account. I just saw this story on Fox 32. There was a big banner on the bottom of the screen that said, ICE raid in Elgin. Come to find out it was U.S. Marshals looking for a family member who is wanted. We played video footage of that raid here on this channel the other day. So this is an update. It wasn't actually an ICE raid. It was U.S. Marshals. And there was a wanted individual in a family. So initial reports were incorrect. And that is what the media does, though. Here's a Chicago judge who released a Venezuelan migrant felon caught during an ICE immigration raid back onto the streets. He's about to walk out of federal jail any minute and return to his girlfriend. Oh, how nice. This looks like a local report.
Federal prosecutor. One of the Venezuelan migrants swept up in immigration raids around Chicago this weekend is about to walk out of federal jail any minute and return to his girlfriend and her parents in the suburbs. Some of these cases have been sealed, but the I-team was in federal court as Edward Martinez Cermeño stepped before a judge and pleaded his case for release. Walking the halls of Chicago's federal court building, Maria and Ruben are still trying to shake off the trauma of Sunday night. Much like these raids across the country, the Venezuelan couple says immigration agents stormed their Schaumburg home. Speaking only in Spanish, Maria told our Michelle Gallardo. She said they were pointing their guns at me and my husband. They knocked him to the ground. Federal agents carried out Maria's daughter's boyfriend, 24-year-old Edward Martinez Cermeño. Federal prosecutors say Martinez Cermeño crossed the border illegally in western Texas in 2023 and made his way to the Chicago area. That charge is merely a misdemeanor, not a felony. They just left without an explanation. They didn't show us any documents. We were scared. We were all in crisis. Tuesday, his appointed public defender told a judge Martinez Cermeño had served as a police officer in Venezuela. Cook County court records show Chicago police arrested Edward Martinez Cermeño for a felony retail theft in January 2024, and he failed to appear for court, triggering a warrant for his arrest. As Martinez Cermeño stood in federal court Tuesday, White House officials were driving home President Trump's message.
If you are an individual, a foreign national, who illegally enters the United States of America, you are, by definition, a criminal.
Martinez Cermeño's police record reflects a non-violent criminal charge, not a conviction. And with a pending court date and asylum hearing set for April 2026, the judge ordered Martinez Cermeño released immediately.
Yeah, it's time for him to go. No. And they let him go. That's Chicago for you, though. They don't care about you. And here we have more. Here we have more from Chicago. If Chicago mayor was honest, he would have admitted the Trump White House is targeting Chicago to challenge the legality of its sanctuary city law. But because the mayor is a liar and compulsive race baiter, he implied Trump is targeting Chicago. Why? Because Mayor Johnson is black.
Story of Chicago. Follow-up question. The vast majority of those who are unauthorized immigrants in this country are in California, Texas, and Florida. Why do you think that the Trump administration is focusing in on Chicago?
Look, I've expressed this. Thank you for that question. I've expressed the love story of Chicago on multiple occasions. I'll do it again. A black Haitian immigrant fell in love with a Potawatomi woman and established a trade post at the bank of the river. understanding that Chicago one day will be the global capital of the world. It's a city that immigrants from around the world have come to find this place as refuge. Whether you are an Italian immigrant, an Irish, Polish, a Jewish immigrant, descendants of slaves who migrated from the South. My family's a part of the second migration. Like we're the soul, that's the soul of Chicago. We have one of the most diverse economies in the world, where not one industry captures more than 14% of our overall GDP. We're continuing to invest in all of our public assets, $20 billion of new investments. Those are reasons of why he should pay attention to Chicago, and if the administration is committed to helping with those investments, to grow more affordable housing units, to grow businesses, that's what we're doing. But I will say, to some extent, I think the attention on Chicago is because of where we have stood historically. And this is the place where we said, keep hope alive, that launched a civil rights leader onto a national stage, the first black woman to serve in the United States Senate. Electricity came to life here, skyscrapers right here in the city of Chicago. And now we have investment on the southeast side of Chicago for the first time in 32 years. So there's a lot to behold. I think he is showing a real odd way of being attracted to our city. If he loves our city, he should just figure out how to work with folks. And I think the last thing that I'll say.
He loves Chicago. He has a building in Chicago, Brandon Johnson, and he wants to clean up Chicago because you aren't doing it. It has nothing to do with who founded it or that the civil rights movement was birthed there and that Barack Obama emerged from the streets. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with restoring law and order and making Chicago great again because you are a failure. Okay, let's see. He's got a few more seconds here.
If he was really serious about transforming our immigration system in this country, he would pass a law. There's a bipartisan law right now on the Senate side that would provide more border support, more judges to move asylum cases faster, to create pathways to citizenship.
Oh, come on, Johnson. You're talking about more federal bureaucracy. That doesn't solve the problem. Boots on the ground solve the problem. Oh, we're going to have more judges so that we can have so we can get the backlog of the 20 million people who've all applied for asylum and abused the system so they can get through the system quicker. No, that doesn't solve the problem, Johnson.
Not doing that because he wants to stoke fear into people so that he can ultimately, behave as the supreme existence, which is quite dangerous because when you have a leader that believes that they are supreme and above the law, there's some real nasty history that demonstrates how damning that can be for the people on the planet.
Yeah, there is actually precedent. There is, just look at the Biden administration. Above the law, pardoning his own son, pardoning his family members for crimes that they haven't been accused of yet. Going back to 2014, pardoning Anthony Fauci, Adam Schiff, Mark Milley, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger. Yeah, we do have precedent, and we understand how damaging it can be when an executive abuses their authority. But President Trump is actually exercising his authority under the law to clean up your shit. Brandon Johnson, you're a joke. You're a freaking joke. Okay, so speaking of jokes, we have this. The View's Sonny Hostin falsely claims that being in the country illegally isn't a crime. Yeah.
Should be focused on themselves. But 87% support deporting criminal undocumented migrants.
Yes, I don't know anybody in the world. Yeah, I don't know anybody in the world who wants to keep the criminals. I don't know anybody.
That's where you should be focused.
Can I say something? Because, we keep on talking about criminals and immigrants being criminals. And I just want people to understand what the facts are and the stats are, is that undocumented immigrants are
much less likely to have committed crimes than American citizens. American citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented. I also want to make the...
Oh, is that right? Maybe it's because there's more American citizens than there are illegals. So just by the proportionate distribution, yeah, there would be more crimes committed by American citizens than illegals. Okay? Wow. I can't believe she even said that. Well, we are watching the clucks on The View flap their beaks.
Citizens commit more crimes than anyone who is undocumented. I also want to make the point that an undocumented immigrant is not a criminal because he or she is undocumented. That is a civil offense. So to call people illegals is, in and of itself, I think, xenophobic and racist. And I do. And incorrect.
You got to hand it to the clucks on The View. They never cease to amaze us here. Pete Hegseth writes, "This is only the beginning. We will get 100% operational control of our nation's border. It's about time." Quote tweeting the Department of Defense, where he now heads. And this quote says, "This initial deployment of 1,500 active duty personnel brings the total military Title X forces along the border to nearly 4,000 personnel." Yes, baby. America is back. And check this out. I saw this late last night. The left lying again. Here is the correct information. If anyone tries to use this photo, have you seen this picture floating around? I want to get to the bottom of this. Let's see what this guy's got to say.
I got to admit. All right. Latinos for Trump. All right. Well, I guess let's start the day off with this one. So a lot of you have sent me this image here. Police ICE seem to be arresting a man. Latinos for Trump 2024. I gotta admit, the Photoshop work is pretty good. It's pretty good. But my immediate thought was maybe this guy was wearing it in hopes he wouldn't get deported if he is, here illegally. Kind of like when people put like the thin blue line on your car in hopes that when you're speeding, the police don't stop you. That's kind of where my mind went. But then I started my investigative work, and this is what I found. So I ran an image search, and it looks like there's already 466 hits for it. Some of them going all the way back to like 2021, which I'm like, man, how hilarious would this be if this man actually ended up being deported under Biden and people are using it to try to get one over on the current administration. But the earliest I found, and the source for this was, so this original image actually goes all the way back. This is the earliest I found. By an NPR, says ICE carries out its largest immigration raid in recent history, arresting 146. This is the original picture. As you can see, there's no Latinos for Trump. But of course, a lot of you were like, dude, what is going on? Now they're arresting like Latinos for Trump guys. And I'm like, nah, it's just people with the propaganda again.
Wow. Yeah. People are so desperate to try to frame Trump. They will do anything in their power. Here is Scott Jennings on CNN. If you're here illegally, you should be deported. And here's what the Democrat has to say.
I think that if you are trying to actively hire illegal immigrants, if you think that's best, if you are trying to game the system, if you are trying to help someone break U.S. federal immigration law, I think if we're going to have a true crackdown on illegal immigration in this country, it has to involve everybody who's participating in it. And I think you've raised a good point with this topic. And so employers and anyone else who's part of this pipeline, I think they ought to be put on notice. And you got to play by the rule. Everybody has to play by the rule.
I don't want to hear that they're doing work that no one else will do. Talk to guys in the building trades, plumbers, contractors,
picking strawberries.
These building trades guys are being hurt.
I can't
by
wait.
labor that shouldn't be here.
I can't wait until American women can't get blueberries for their smoothies. I cannot wait until there is a full crackdown on all small businesses, as if that's going to be the solution to the immigration problem. It is just going to put immigration-related issues further into the darker corners. We're not going to see them. It's just going to become even harder to solve the problem. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, don't worry. We'll find him in the shadows too, honey, and you will still get your freaking blueberries. Goodness.
To punish individuals and people when there is a broken system?
I mean, look, I think if you came here illegally and you came, you did it, you broke the law, you have to understand it's a new day in America. And number two, I still think the case for total economic collapse, if we have some deportation, is totally overstated. I mean, it's obvious the priority is violent criminals and the second priority is people with existing deportation orders. I think that's the vast majority of what's going to go on, for the next couple of years. And I don't think that's going to have any impact on the economy at all.
But I wonder about just acknowledging the role of undocumented people in the economy. I mean, I think that's the part that's not happening. I mean, earlier today, Stephen Miller was on with Jake Tapper.
Oh, man. You got to give it to Jennings, man. He knows how to handle those morons on CNN. We got this. An ICE raid at a car wash in Philadelphia happened Tuesday morning. 7 illegals were arrested. ICE is now targeting illegals everywhere. See, I told you, they're going to find them in the shadows and in the car washes.
Early morning ICE raid in the Juniata Park section of Philadelphia. The video here shows the scene as Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents conducted the raid at Complete Auto Wash. Witnesses and advocacy groups tell us 7 men were detained from this location, one of at least 2 early morning immigration raids undertaken across Philadelphia today. They come amid an increased crackdown by the Trump administration. Now, the White House said today that these raids will now target anyone in the country illegally for any reason, not merely those with a prior criminal record. Administration officials have already said these raids could target places of employment, schools, and churches as well. ICE raid.
We'll find them wherever they are hiding. It does not matter. It's only day 10, my fellow Americans, and we are winning. Here we have Gavin Newsom. The tax dollars that Gavin Newsom set aside to fight Trump will also be used to defend criminal illegals. Wall Street Apes writes 23 hours ago, Gavin Newsom's $50 million taxpayer set aside to Trump-proof California will go to defending criminal illegal aliens from deportation. I'm sure Californians are really happy about that, especially after they just got ravaged by fires. Maybe take that $50 million and rebuild. But this is California we're talking about.
Proceeding. So you're assuring us that none of this money will be used to defend criminal illegal immigrants facing deportation. You're going to assure me of that.
Assemblymember, as a budget staffer, I can only tell you what the grant is for. I don't know that I can give you that level of a guarantee.
On this fund, the grants that are going to go to these nonprofit groups, what sort of activities do you anticipate they're going to do with these grants? What are they going to do with the money? Would they use our tax dollars to defend illegal immigrants from deportation proceedings? Is that part of what they do?
Well, I'm not certain about that. I would have to defer probably.
Does someone here know?
If the deportation hearing is under a criminal justice jurisdiction, the Equal Access Fund is for civil matters.
And you're assuring us that this money is not used to defend illegal immigrants from deportation proceedings?
Again, just to reiterate, these are for civil legal proceedings.
Right.
Only.
So not deportation. Is deportation not a civil proceeding?
But again, it is the intent.
Don't have clarity. This is incredibly tone deaf to be moving forward with these bills at this time when we have residents who still are not in their homes. We should be focused on wildfire recovery, relief, and prevention. I don't think this is a sign of good faith, and I hope you take that back to the governor. So you're assuring us.
That's exactly what I said. Exactly what I said. Misappropriation. You got people that are out of their homes, American citizens that need the support of the state that has a budget for these types of things, but they're going to go ahead and spend it on defending illegals. And here's another guy, a bald liberal man, patting himself on the back for berating ICE agents during a raid at his complex where an alleged illegal who is accused of abusing children lived. Listen to this.
He says when they gave him as aggressive knocks at my door. I approached the door, but before opening it, I asked who it was. I heard in response that it was the police. I asked if they had a warrant. They indicated that they did. He says when they gave him an Hispanic name he didn't recognize, he opened the door. I fully expected to see Fairfax County police at the door. Instead, I saw a group of men. It was at least 4, but I think it was more, decked out in what I would describe as like tactical gear.
In the video provided to News 4 by another resident, you can see the word police and the acronym ERO, which stands for Enforcement and Removal Operations within ICE.
I told them that they should be ashamed of themselves, that they were breaking up families, and that, what my government was doing was embarrassing, and they're embarrassing our country.
Early morning door knocks more traumatic for another neighbor who spoke to our Telemundo 44 partner and asked we conceal her identity. They were knocking very hard on the door. They were trying to force it open. They kept trying to turn the handle and kept pushing hard against the door. She says the incident was so frightening to her 10-year-old that she was crying and asked not to go to school today. She's afraid that when she comes home from school, I'll be gone. Residents say they do not believe anyone was taken into custody. This resident telling our Juliana Valencia he's upset everyone was subjected to the pre-dawn door knocks.
And I asked them, hey, if you have a warrant, it's for a specific apartment. Are you knocking on everyone's door? I kind of reiterated some of the concerns. The individual who seemed to be in charge threatened to lock me up, asked me if I wanted to be locked up. That would be more accurate.
Across the country on Sunday, ICE officers arrested 956 people. That compared to about 300 a day back in September. More than 2,600 people have been picked up since President Trump's inauguration. The White House social media feed featuring post after post of people ICE has arrested. We asked ICE for more information and about why they came to this Beacon Hill building, who they were looking for, but we have not yet received a response.
Okay, well, you're going to keep waiting. And in the meantime, the doors will continue to get knocked on, and President Trump and Tom Homan and Kristi Noem are going to take action because it is long overdue. So what we're seeing is a fundamental reshaping of American sovereignty. While sanctuary cities crumble and ICE restores law and order, the left's entire immigration narrative is falling apart. They claim deportations were impossible, yet ICE just cleared out illegal aliens from Philadelphia to Chicago. They said the border couldn't be secured, yet there are Marines deploying razor wire right now. But here's what should really make you think. Why are Democrat governors like Gavin Newsom spending $50 million of your tax money to protect criminal aliens instead of helping American citizens in need? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think these sanctuary city politicians are really trying to hide? Wear your revolution with our exclusive MAG Avengers gear because patriotism never goes out of style. Available now at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.